Alright boys, welcome back. So the new season has just started. We got a bunch of rewards if you check your mail. If you finished the Hall of Illusion last season where you got the 2 guarantee LRs, we've now gotten them for the accessories. So I will start the video off with this. I'm not entirely too sure what I need. Oh, we can choose. Oh, it's crazy. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to pick them just yet then. But for the first time, especially if you are free to play, even so you spend money, I can't really get these. We've now gotten the Epic Gear Substat Changer, which allows you to unlock 2 of your substats, and you have 20 of those, which is, yeah, very, very good. Also, we spoke about yesterday and what banner you should be summoning on. We've now gotten the first look at the gear summon, which is, weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just LR pieces, which is like 10%. So, like, there's an actual chance you may get like 1 or 2. Yikes. I mean, honestly, oh, it's paid. Never mind. That's even worse. Yeah, I kind of want to summon though, just to see what it looks like. And they showed the accessory icon, but you can't get accessories. I mean, imagine doing 10 summons and getting like this gear. Like, this has got to be a joke. This is like April Fool's, but it's a bit late. But what also dropped this season was the new gear dungeon, the advanced gear dungeon, which you can farm up to 3 times a day. And after 3 days, you will get a chest that will give you your choice. So you can pick one, which isn't too bad. Bear in mind, once again, we have the Transcendence gear, so you have to get 10 of these bad boys. And we'll go through the gear sets in a second, but each one you can do 3 times a day. Obviously, you can only do 3 of per one. You can't do 3 of this one, 3 of this one, and 3 of this one. It's obviously only for one. So this one is going to give like the Jester gear set that is going to reduce damage dealt on enemies of the highest attack for 1 turn. That's not that great, but when you get the 4 set on, right, you are going to get the 35% reduced damage dealt for 2 turns when you use a special skill, which actually is pretty good. I believe the go-to thing with this gear set was putting it onto your Halloween Noel, which already does that passively at the start of the turn, but then you also stack it, I believe, and that also lasts for 2 turns too, and she's got fast speed as well. So putting it on supporters, this is going to be very, very good because they have naturally fast speed. Like, honestly, putting this onto my Vatos, I mean, I'm not really using Vatos, but there's a few times where I get to use him, and getting the speeds onto him doesn't really matter too much, but if you're able to put this on to where you can lower the attack is actually, or damage though actually, is actually not too bad, which actually isn't too bad. So I'm probably going to go towards this one, not going to lie. Alright, so the next one is going to be the Taylor set, I believe that's what they're calling it. And this one is going to give you a 5% chance to get a 1 SP buff. For a 2 set, I mean, I wouldn't want it really, but like, you don't mind it too much. It's a bit weird to use this because 70 or 65% of the time you're not getting any bonus for having it, but I guess it could be useful for some characters, maybe even he kind of wants to rush ultimate, but then I guess if you have him duplicate, you don't need to. But the 4th one is kind of confusing me a little bit. Grant a SP buff guaranteed to start a turn, but then a 50% chance to inflict a extend skill cooldown by 1 turn debuff on the wearer. So you're gonna get a debuff that extends cooldowns. So they do like an AoE skill, they extend cooldowns, that's what I think it is, or maybe reduce your own cooldown. I'm not entirely too sure. That could be kind of good. But once you get 4 set, it's a lot, man. I don't know if that's going to be worth using. And then the final one, let's see what this one is. This one is actually going to be a, like a barbarian one, actually. Yeah, warrior one. Grants a 5% reduced damage taken if the HP is below 40. Definitely not that good. 5% with below 40 is definitely not great. The 4-stack one looks kind of good, though. Upon taking damage, grant a 10% increase in mobility buff and also a 5% increase in defense. Stacks up to 3 times. The effect resets at the start of your turn. Never mind. They lost me on that one. So, yeah, literally, I mean, this is kind of good for, like, if Mars back in the day a little bit, actually wouldn't be too bad. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Once again, I could see that being used on some buffers. It's not too bad. It'd actually be broken if it didn't reset. Like, imagine Asta with this. I mean, you wouldn't want to use that, right? But, like, you have the 5% defense buff. And the other one, which seems to be the go-to one, I think maybe this one you can get guaranteed, but only after 3 days. So you can't actually really farm it as much, right? You are limited. But it's going to grant a 20% reduced damage taken if the HP is above 90, which, to be fair, is the exact same thing as the Charmy skill page. There are some which I have actually got maxed out, which, like, on healers, might not be too bad because I assume this stacks, right? So you can see right now, this one, if I have it maxed out, which I do, a 25% reduced damage taken if above 90 HP. And then you put 25 with this set, which is going to grant you 45% reduced damage taken if your HP is above 90. That don't seem too bad for healers. So this one kind of interesting because the 2 set isn't too bad. You could put down like Witch Queen, for example, which I might even test out. But then the 4 stack one is attacks after granting a 45% damage dealt when you use a special skill, which for 4 stack one, I don't know, man. We don't have enough room for that one. I don't think that'll be too useful. But I'm interested in that 2 stack one, though. This is more like a DPS on a 4 stack, but on a support, you can use on 2 stacks. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to try this one, actually, because I have a magic set right now on my actual Witch Queen, which I don't really care too much about. Okay, so let's jump in and see how it works out then, because this one, yes, it says here. Part 1, if you clear stage, you can only battle this stage for today. So, what does that even mean? Why does it pop up like that? Okay, well, I mean, this is supposed to be the advanced one. I wonder if it's actually hard. I imagine not. I mean, I guess they did survive a Julius AoE there, but I don't think it's going to be that hard. Eventually this far in the game. Alright, so that is the first one cleared. I believe on JP, apparently, the requirement to get the guaranteed gear set is like 3 a day, I think, actually, rather than 9. So I think we might have been a little bit shafted on global. So you are guaranteed one here because it's literally the only thing you can pull. And yeah, this one, I mean, I don't really need attack. I kind of want a magic attack. So yeah, it's still a bit RNG in that one. Okay, so I get how it works now. So once you beat in a quest, you're restricted to only clearing that quest 3 times a day. You can see right now we can clear part 1 again, but obviously part 2 and part 3 is actually locked off because its update is being prepared, so it's not going to come out for a while, which I mean, you are guaranteed one, so maybe they get a bit harder. You start guaranteeing 2, and maybe you get guaranteed 3 on part 3. That would be kind of nice, right? But if I try and do the other ones right now, you can see that it's locked off. You can do part 1, but I can't do it for today because I already locked in the other stage. So it's not like you can do part 1, part 1, part 1. You can only do part 1 3 times on a certain stage here. Also, as well, when you are farming gear, naturally, you have a chance to get these gear sets too. As you can see, when you go towards the red dungeon, you now have like the Jester set in here. Then you have the Tailor one and also the Warrior one in the green one. And yeah, you can farm these naturally, once again, not guaranteed, which is why we have that new advanced gear dungeon that guarantees you a few copies of them. But at least when you're farming normal gear and you're trying to transcend it, if you get a few copies of it, that'll be obviously very helpful too. So yeah, you can naturally farm them as well. But yeah, those are the new dungeon. That is the new gear set. I don't think it's going to be too useful, realistically speaking. Some might be good for buffers in the future, but generally speaking, your big DPS characters, they're going to go with the same thing, right? Just going to have attack, defense, and speed on. But when it comes to buffers and certain buffers, you're going to start seeing a little more different gear, like maybe swapping out the defense for Charlotte and putting on that set that reduces damage dealt from attackers, or even the reduced damage received when you're above 90% HP. That could be definitely good for healers. And yeah, for like Noelle, for example, I normally use like this set, for example, which is the full magic set with defense, which isn't even that good. So yeah, she's going to get a big buff here. So yeah, boys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.